Proper name. This is in the federal statutes for the United States Postal Service. Where's the top? Oh, he went with them. Okay. Whoever, for the purpose of conducting, promoting, or carrying on by the means of the Postal Service any scheme or device mentioned in Section 1341 of this title, which is under frauds and swindles, or any other unlawful business, uses or assumes or requests to be addressed by any fictitious, false, or assumed title, name, or address, or name other than his own proper name, or takes and receives from any post office or authorized depository of mail matter, that's a court, depositories, they're depositories, excuse me, mail matter, letter, postcard, package, or other mail matter addressed to any such fictitious, false, or assumed title, name, or address, or name other than his or her own proper name, let's say that down there, but that's okay, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both.
Here's a red notice if you want to look at it.
You can pass it.
Okay.
If they want to look at that.
Here's a red notice.
They start sending you crap in the mail under a fake name.
You just send that back to them.
You just send that back to them. Stop sending me crap through the mail.
I should have asked them.
That's what I use that for there.
This here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
got
frauds
a
and
short-
swindles?
I put the envelope, yeah, I put the envelope, everything back in a separate envelope, and I staple that to it, and then I send it back with
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Sends you mail.
You gotta ask with Tom.
Yeah,
You sent that
1341.
back, I think, with the
Right
mail. But he's got a condensed one. Glenn's got a condensed version. You put that back with the letter they sent, or
I
package?
attach that, I staple it as a cover letter, I put their envelope back in the mail and everything, and I always take a copy, so then I can use it against them.
This is what I was doing to them. USPS has a mail fraud form.
That's lengthy. You've got to fill out a lot on that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's 2
But it's
pages.
fun. It's fun. You know what I mean? You take what they sent you. You take a picture of it. You put proof that you sent it back. Hey, don't be sending me this for rule blah 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 blah. Send it back to them. Take a picture of it. Fill out the mail fraud form and staple the picture. Because people will commit mail fraud. And I want to say if you get them 3 times in a year, then they get investigated. And you definitely want the United States Postal Force to be kicking in doors over something so simple.
Can we send them stuff from DCF? The DCF sent?
Yeah, absolutely. That's who I was reporting. Them, attorneys, everyone.
So every time DCF sent you a letter, you sent in a mail fraud form?
I would send it back, I would copy it, and I'd put it on the mail fraud form. Yep.
I was thinking about the movie, the Tom Cruise, the lawyer movie that Tom Cruise did. It was about a book from John Grisham, the lawyer.
The firm?
The Firm, that's what it is, The Firm. And they were all doing nefarious things and everything, and the only way he was able to take them down was they were committing mail fraud. They were doing fraudulent statements through the mail, and it was the mail fraud that it was the only thing that he could take the firm down with. And they went berserk to stop it.
Yeah.
Because they knew they had them. It was like years and years and years for every count, and they were doing it like weekly to multiple people for years.
Yes.
They were going to prison for the next 5,000 years.
Absolutely. Remember I told you I sat down with the FBI. I'm like, they're stealing kids over here, there's perverts over here, the school's doing this, they're doing securities fraud, they're this, and mail fraud. They're like, oh, you have proof of mail fraud? They don't give a fuck about anything else but mail fraud. And this is the FBI. Here's the form. If you guys want to get busy.
Does it have a form number?
It is right here. 8165. Is it 81? 8165. U.S. Postal Inspection Service Mail Fraud Report.
Just click that download thing there and it'll save it onto my hard drive.
You got it.
And then I can email it to you guys if you want.
Yes.
Wait, what was that? 8165?
8165. USPS 8165. Yep. How are you contacted? See, okay, there's a couple tricks to this. Alright? Because it says you cannot send anything to the mail
Is it the red notice?
unless you use their proper form, right? You don't want to click U.S. mail. You want to click Other, and then you put United States Postal Service. okay? Because when you look up that rule, it says United States Postal Service. So don't make any mistakes. Do your best not to make mistakes. And then, it tells you all the stuff that they did. Now here's another trick down here. Return this form to your postmaster or mail to all cap Criminal Investigation Service Center, attention mail fraud. It's an all cap. Don't do that. It's got to be his or her own proper name, including business. So you can. I went in and gave it to the postmaster. You're not going to trick me sending something through the mail to complain about what they did when I just finished doing the same thing that they did that I'm complaining about. You know what I'm saying? And of course, there's a Privacy Act statement down here. So be sure, be careful not to waive your information.
Oh, you don't give them your information. How do they send it back? Oh, they don't send
They
it
don't.
back to you. Okay.
You're sending them the evidence of what was done,
Yeah.
who it went to. First name private, last name civilian.
So
Okay.
did you see on other you put United States Postal Service?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you
Thank
why. You're welcome. Okay. Right here where it says, whoever for the purpose of conducting, promoting, or carrying on by any means of the Postal Service. What's the Postal Service? As used in this title, the term Postal Service means United States Postal Service. So don't click U.S. Mail. Click Other. And then United States Postal Service. Don't open the mail. When you get it, as soon as you see it, return to sender. You can use the red notice. You can use what he's got right here.
Is this the same thing?
Yeah, it's a lighter version of it.
You
Yeah.
just handwrite it on the back of the letter.
Yep.
Don't
Absolutely.
put your info.
Yep. We had a woman do a quick claim on DCF. They started sending her stuff in the mail. Quick claim, everything on the envelope, sent it back to them, and she gave it to the post office, and she said, I need you to stamp this. They stamped it. I need you to make a copy of it. They made a copy of it front and back, and they vanished. All right, and then she reported them. Which
Was
we
that
liked.
Jane Doe?
This was Jane.
Thank you.
There's a whole bunch of
This
stuff
is
down
good
here you can
sound
click.
stuff.
The really good thing about down here is because your private rights are under estate. Hey, listen, these people are fiduciaries. They're trying to attack my estate. Ooh, tell on them that they're trying to attack your estate. Medical quackery. just in case you guys start getting, you know what I mean, enhancement offers and things like that. Medical quackery. Charity fraud. That's pretty much everything that they do in the public. Right? That's a nice one. Because now IRS is going to get involved. Charity, you guys are committing tax fraud and charity, man. You can pick and choose any of these that you want to right here. Misrepresentation of product or service. Okay? Snitch on them. Snitch on them.
They wouldn't give up a chance to do it to you.
Absolutely not. They most certainly would not. Okay.
You're supposed to take care of your employees anyway.
Huh?
You're supposed to guide your employees anyway.
Yeah,
Correct.
they're road.
Part of regulating our public servants.
That's right. Regulate their asses. Put them in their place. You know, when I accept your oath to the state of New Jersey and the United States of America, I want you guys to drop and give me 20. You know what I mean? Tie your shoelaces together while you're at it. You know what I mean? All right, so equitable property defined. Maxims of equity and adjudication states that a court of equity, comes out of Gibson's, the book that I mentioned, to protect and enforce the rights to property, the object of the suits in chancery. So when you bring in a private suit, this is going to be how they see it. The term property, as used in this section, you guys are going to like this, includes that is subject of exclusive individual ownership, right? Who owns the name, who controls the name, or, to be more specific, includes not only lands, houses, goods, and chattels, rights, credits, but also a man's person and his wife and minor children, and his right to work and his right to sell and acquire property, and engage in any lawful business, and his and their reputation. So if you guys are out there dragging me through the mud, You're not going to use the right to the freedom of press to do it. Okay? You have violated my property. Reputation, health, and capacity to labor, and his and their right to enjoy the senses of sight, smell, hearing, and taste, and his and their right of speech, locomotion, okay? And his and their right to enjoy their sense of moral propriety when normal. As men live by their labor and property, no man is presumed to part with either without receiving or expecting an equivalent in value. Hence, whenever one person has obtained either the labor or property of another, he should pay or account therefor, unless he can prove it was a gift. You gave it to us. Okay? And so whatever injury one person does to another's property or capacity to labor should be made good. These are the rules in equity. You're not going to get this in
They're not
statutory.
in equity, they steal, they're robbers.
They're not allowed in equity because they steal and they're
Right.
robbers.
Who's
They're not allowed. Attorneys. Corporations have no rights.
Attorneys can't enter into this equity
They can't
jurisdiction.
even speak. Bound and gagged.
And who made that decision? And when?
You did when you entered into equity. When the judge said, okay, we're in chambers, let me see the trust, they were like,
So then the question is, who creates the guidelines for equity? And the answer is God. Am I, is
you're right.
okay.
But it's kind of esoteric, right?
Yes,
It's-
all of it is.
But
There's
why,
the absence.
if it is so esoteric, judges know about it and some lawyers do, or
all.
They
And
never-
the attorneys are advised to stay out of equity. If you can keep them out, for God's sakes, keep them out. Because if they drag you in, you're going to sink like a rock. Maxims of equity are right here.
Wait. Say that again?
What?
About getting dragged in? I
If you
thought-
drag them, when you step into chambers, like Mr. Rafferty,
Yeah.
he escorted him out of the building. Sweat
Okay.
bullets.
Oh,
making
he had
sure
to leave.
he left.
Oh, he had to leave.
When he left, okay, when T-Liff left with his papers, he was in the elevator, walked him out, okay, have a nice day, on the stairs, bye. On the stairs of the courthouse, making sure he left.
Making sure
Because
who
he, making sure T-Liff left.
So
Court.
he didn't get his money.
So he
Because
didn't,
the lawyer
so
was
he
in trouble, so he knew he wanted to make sure he left and that his trouble was really gone. He could breathe easy
That's
again.
right.
He was
Yeah,
scared.
I thought he was in the room with him. That's
He
why I
was,
thought.
and he
But,
was
yeah.
watching his life go down the drain.
Right, because that could have been like shit ton of money.
Yes.
Because he was responsible for those bonds.
Yes.
All right.
And that's fraud. And when you're in equity, it's automatically seen that the attorneys are committing fraud. I don't give a damn if that judge is your uncle. He still has to throw you down the drain. Okay. So these are the maxims of
After you're
equity.
a prosecutor.
Yes.
Throw him down the drain.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
that says the judge is an ethical judge, right?
That's if you can get into equity. You have to be able to get in.
Okay, so that's so
Like
you
he
gotta
said.
bypass some skanky judge, and hopefully
They
the
all have
skanky
training.
judge will get you to the equity judge.
All the judges, for the most part, have training, and if they don't, they'll hand you off like they told him. Courtroom 3, next. Who's coming through the meat grinder?
The
Let's go.
judges are just as afraid of it, right? They're just as afraid in there. You have, or no?
If they can't handle the
Right.
equity piece, they'll hand you off. Usually it's going to be someone with white hair because they've been there long enough.
Right, because they could screw up and ruin their own, they can go down
Right.
the drain right with the prosecutor if they screw up too.
Right.
So they have to watch every word then too. They don't have freedom of saying and doing whatever they want anymore.
No. And some of these
Right.
judges have investments in your loss. So we had a lot of people, like for instance, California and North Carolina are two of the biggest situations I know of. This woman got her name changed in California. 3 clerks, 4 judges. She went in to go to do a cause, and she's like, "What's up with the judge?" And the bailiff was like, "Oh, he's on vacation for a long time. Long time. He's gone." Okay.
What if a judge? What if you do all your training, you stay within equity, and the judge does not stay within equity? and you can prove it in the transcript.
You go to a higher
Will there
court.
be a transcript in
You
equity
go
in
to
our
higher court and
chambers?
they would smoke them.
Yeah, you can always go.
Okay,
back.
so we need to look at that transcript, because I think I stayed in equity.
I don't know if you can use it though because you quit claimed it. But you can use it. We'll look at it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would there be a transcript if you're in chambers like that?
That's
She
a
didn't
good
get there,
question.
she's saying.
They usually omit it.
Right, so
They
there wouldn't
omit
be no
the
transcript.
equitable.
She's
Like
saying
it
she
never
didn't get
existed.
there. She's saying they didn't bring her in there though, that she thinks she kept herself there, but they didn't let her go in.
Right.
That's why, so it was still out, they were trying to still keep it outside.
Right. We'll have to look at it. All right, so these are just the basic 12 rules, but when you get the book, Gibson's, it has far more detailed, far more detailed pieces of information when it comes down to equity. All right, so the first one is equity considers that done what ought to be done. So whatever was supposed to be done before, it's going to be done. When you filed that, when they were going to sell your house, gone, off the books. What sale? What are you talking about? Okay?
Even though my name, I don't have a name decree though.
You used the proper name. Proper name took hold and did an acceptance. That's it. That's it. Okay? Now, to get all the money back and everything else, you're probably going to want to do that. All right? Equity will not suffer a wrong to do without a remedy. If they did something to you, if they did something to your children, if they did anything that caused you harm in any way or violated any of those equitable rights, including your right to breathe clean air, like these assholes flying around spraying shit all day, okay? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Equity court will take care of that. Especially, let's say, for instance, 2 decree holders go into court. I went into a notary office one day, and I was like, I just need 2 witnesses on my papers because I like to get 2 witnesses. And she says, well, what's this for? I said, oh, it's for a filing for Supreme Judicial Court. She goes, oh, what laws are you going to change today? I said, oh, you just made me 10 times more dangerous than I was when I walked in.
Yeah, right?
Okay, because I can change the laws, but come on. So, yes, there will always be a remedy to the wrong that they do.
Even with the geoengineering, the spraying
If
with
you-
the
yeah, if
heavy
you can get
metals
them.
and shit.
How do you find
Find
it?
out who's doing. That's a lot of research,
It's the Air Force.
but it can be done.
I'm working right outside Air Force.
But
a
if it's
base
the Air
right now.
Force, military
I
is
watched the
subservient
plane.
to civilians at
Yeah.
all times.
I watch the planes land with the sprayers on that take
We're not
off and they
admitting-
land all day long. I watch them spray all day long.
Okay.
We're not
Well, God's
guiding
gonna
our
have to show him to do
employees.
something about it.
You're entertained.
Right, we're not guiding our employees. If we guide our employees, then they can't do all that. They're running amok because
Right.
we said go to work, and then we went on vacation.
I mean, you
Right.
wouldn't even,
The
you
cats
couldn't
away, the mice
believe how
play.
many planes take off every day, too. Like 20 at a time.
Tell
You
her
know?
about the pipes
that it?
that were lined with the
No,
bullshit.
she's got-
Oh, I had to walk off job sites because some, the work I do, like heavy construction. So right now I'm doing a gas pipeline main, but this was a water pipeline main. And inside the pipe, for all water mains, not just in New Jersey, every single water main, they coat the pipe with this 2-part epoxy to make it extra slippery so that it saves the pipe from corroding as fast. This shit is hazardous as hell. Have to wear full hazmat suits, masks, outfits, the whole 9 yards, right? I ask questions. How can you have me do this and people are going to bathe their children in this shit and drink it?
Right.
Oh, well, when it dries, it's not toxic no more. Just get the fuck out of here. I walked off the job.
Right.
I can't be killing people with that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there'll probably
Right.
be a class action suit when
Right.
somebody wakes
But I
up.
mean, it's been going on for years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Fluoride face.
So in my opinion, the smartest thing to do would be to get your papers correct and go get the land grant and fucking evict them.
I mean,
And then if they
it
move,
goes for miles. I mean, pipe goes for miles and
so
miles.
you get acres on land grant.
Shit.
And if they decide, okay, well we're evicted, we got 30 days to go. Oh man, we're gonna go on to Arizona. Your cousin's in Arizona, and he's got a decree. Him and his girlfriend have a decree. Here, listen, these douchebags are getting ready to move out to Arizona. They're looking at some land out there. You wanna go grab that, please? Send them running like they send us running. The land is all abandoned.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this was we were in Jersey City at the time, so you know it's like all the neighborhoods and stuff. We're ripping the road up and putting pipes in the ground and stuff. You know what I mean? Like this stuff's so hazardous. I'm in the machine digging the trench and I have to be in the suit. I'm not even messing with this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like I couldn't even dig the holes. I didn't want no part of it.
Yeah. Who's manufacturing the
3M.
poison?
Yeah.
Of course, if they're manufacturing it, where's the contract with the city?
Yeah.
Bring the city into a court of equity. What are you doing?
The city and the contract.
Well, the cities are all criminals anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a matter of who do you want to disable and how.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It would take intelligence, organization, and planning to do it, but it can be done. It hasn't been done.
No.
We've all been sleeping.
I mean, the guys break out in rashes and they're wearing the suits and masks with air, circulated air and shit. And they're breaking out in rashes.
And go
you know?
home to their family with that rash.
I mean, so listen, some of these pipes are so big you can walk through them. And they're standing in there painting the shit, you know?
And they're really
What do they make?
Well, they have
30
masks
bucks
with
an
air,
hour?
you know?
$30 an hour to do that?
A lot more than that. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
Take care.
Peace, love, all of the above.
Okay, so equity delights in equality. It's got to be equal. Okay? Do your names match? Does your information match? Do their records match what you've got in your hand? I'm the intended beneficiary. You know what? I'm the intended beneficiary. We're good. One who seeks equity must do equity. Okay? If you want help of the court, you better be coming in there just and right. You can't go in there seeking revenge. I'm going to use my sons of bitches and we're going to burn down their houses and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. It's the scales, the weight of the heart and the feather. I know it's tough. You know, I know it's tough, but you know what? Before you go to the court of equity, report it for mail fraud system. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, these people have harmed me. Their charter is unlawful. Motion to dissolve their corporate charter. That's what stopped DCF from coming to my door. Bitch, if you come back, I'm gonna put a lien against your corporate charter. Never came back. Okay, they've been dissolved before, completely liquidated. You have to be forgiving. That's a tough one.
So you can't say you want their next stretch?
No, I mean, you might punch him in the parking lot and then walk in there. Your Honor. You know what I mean?
What I was thinking is getting into it, like just punching their lights out and then getting up and say, "Oh, gee, I'm so sorry. I thought he wanted to do a commercial transaction."
It was an act of God. No one saw it coming, not even me. You know? Equity aids the vigilant, not the indolent. You have to be on top of it. Okay? You gotta be on top of stuff. Anytime they try something, boom, I don't think so. Boom, I don't think so. You gave me a ticket, here's your answer the next day. I'm not gonna sit here and play with you. Alright. Equity imputes an intent to fulfill an obligation. Well, if you're the intended beneficiary, then there's most likely you're going to come in and fulfill your obligation, whatever that is. You want to quit claiming and your obligations are done? Fine, discharge it. We're good. Alright? Equity acts in personam, on your person. When you get into the court of equity, when you get in, which is probably the same courtroom, that's when you put your person forward. If you go in there with all cap Joe, you're a criminal, get out of my court. You're not allowed in here. You have no rights in here. Okay? Equity acts in personam, in your person. Equity arbors a forfeiture. If they say you forfeited your rights, your money, your funds, and so on and so forth, go back and get it. It's not a forfeiture. This is just a simple mistake. And I have every right to the profits and the proceeds, investments, and payments because my name is on it. Alright? Equity does not require an idle gesture. He who comes into equity must come in with clean hands. Don't come in there with that fake name. Don't come in there, I mean, you know, you can't, we would like to punch them in the face and roll, you know, drive over their family dog or whatever on our way to court, but you can't do that.
No violence.
That's why people with a mortgage, they'll be behind on the payments. And
Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on Steemit. And that's at Sovereignty International. Don't forget to like this video. On YouTube, don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified when there's a new upload. On Steemit, don't forget to vote and make your comments. And I've also got some videos uploaded to BitChute. This is my front page of my YouTube channel. Notice the arrow is pointing at the bell, and the subscribe button's already been clicked. That's why it's checked. Normally it would be red. And when you click on that bell, that one there is not clicked because doesn't look like it's ringing. When you click on it, a pop-up comes up, and there's a box you have to check to be notified about uploads. This is Steemit. The left arrow is where you click to upvote an article. The middle arrow is how many votes it's got, and the right arrow is where you make comments. And this is Steemit again, and the arrow is pointing at Crypto Wallet. There's a hand there. When you move your mouse there and touch the profile name, this pop-up window comes down, and that's where you can follow or unfollow someone.
And they wonder why when the mortgage company sues them, they wonder why that no matter what they say, they lose. Because they don't have clean hands. If you want to get a remedy from a mortgage company, then you got to go on the attack, and the argument is there's fraud. And you can go through and explain the fraud and the mortgage and all the rest of that stuff, but you can't be late on your payments. And then maybe you'll get a remedy. But if you're late on the payments and they're suing you, then you got dirty hands.
Well, in her case, she came with clean hands and equity acted in persona because she had a special warranty deed. And she accepted it in her proper form.
And that was perfect. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That was perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So the maxims in here kicked in for her and saved her. Okay?
Plus, when you were in a court and foreclosure, you were there as a debtor, not a creditor.
You gotta be
When
on the
you
right
go
side.
Right. You gotta get to be a creditor.
You gotta switch the sides, yeah?
What's the
Don't
difference?
go to court, right? Isn't that
What?
what everybody says? Don't go to court.
If you can avoid going to court, technically you're supposed to be dealing with the clerk, but you can do a quick claim with the clerk before the party even gets started.
What's the difference between a special warranty deed and a general warranty deed?
Special is special and general is slave. I have a special clause here. I'm coming in as a common slave, and damn it, I want royal rights. You better get out of here with that. You better go back to the plantation and go take care of, you know, go till the land. Because you haven't figured out yet that you're supposed to be royalty, and you haven't figured out, you haven't gone through the steps, you haven't gone through the gauntlet. You can't come in here demanding stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're not in proper form. You're using a lease. What are you talking about? You want royal rights? Get out of here. You don't even have your own name. You're using somebody else's name. Get out of here. All right? Equity delights to do justice and not by half. If you go into a court of equity, they're going to give you the whole remedy. If you got 4 or 5 different cases going on, equity's going to look at it and be like, okay, well, you know what? Okay, let's see. I see this. You know what? We're going to knock out these cases here. We're going to take care of this. And someone go get the accounting for this woman. Someone go get all the records, all the accounting for this woman so we can see what we owe her. She finally has shown up. Thank you very much for showing up.
Settling the accounts.
There was a guy that took a $200 ticket and turned it into a 7-figure judgment.
God damn.
Interest, profits, proceeds, investments. Let's see. Equity will take jurisdiction to avoid a multiplicity of suits. That's what we just talked about. Equity will follow the law of the land. So, the Article 3 courts are hidden. But they're there. They're in law and equity. And that's under judicial power. Article 3 of the Constitution establishes and empowers the judicial branch of the national government. So you have to have your proper name, and that turns you into a national. You can't go in there as a citizen. All right? Judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court. Didn't the Supreme Court just finish saying that they will nullify any name that's misstyled? Knock it right out. And in such inferior courts as Congress may establish from time to time, let me find it where it says equity. There it is. Section 3. Section 3, Article 2, Clause 1, 321, blast off. Find it. I'm just going to use it from the menu. It's talking about the judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. In law and equity.
Doesn't say at law.
Doesn't say outlaw. That's outside of the protective bubble. We're trying to get into divine protection, but before we get in there, we gotta hit the first step. Second step, puncture the bubble. And now we're okay. Equity will not assist a volunteer. Giving your name to these people. Equity and the protections are in the withholding of this. Do you have a license? You doesn't have a license. You has a decree. I said to a cop, he's like, "Oh, you're one of them." And he runs to his car, opens it, closes it, comes back. Slow down. Very much time. They do all this weird stuff. These weird things that I remember one day I went into the name change office in Social Security. And I went and I sat down, I took all the papers and I spread them across the table and I said, "Listen, I need you to change these records. Do you have a card?" She sees it. "I don't have a card. This isn't my desk. These aren't my things. Our business is done here. Binary code 001101010101 binary code." I'm like, "What just happened? Did you just like misfire?" Lady?
She said that to you?
She started screaming out the binary code.
Computer code, yeah.
Yeah, we had another one go in there, do the same thing. She goes, "Oh, who else is coming? How many more of there are you? We have to alert our higher beings." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Could be. You never know.
Yeah. There's an interesting I won't play this because it's vulgar.
Inky's relatives.
But there's a whole Saturday Night Live skit.
Action 9, News at 5. NorCal's #1 choice for news.
Good afternoon. Our top story, a 4.3 magnitude earthquake rattled downtown Sacramento this morning, causing some structural damage. Our own Randall Fields is in Capitol Plaza. Randall, besides the ground, what's shaking over there?
Well, lots, Carol, and given the severity of the situation, I found that earthquake pun in very poor taste. I'm here at the Social Security Administration building, where a portion of the second floor caved in, shocking several people who were in the legal change of name office below. I'm told the building was especially busy, as due to the partial government shutdown, office hours have been limited.
An earthquake at the name change office at Social Security.
And the commercial government shutdown they're talking about.
Especially
For
for special people that are running up in there and getting their accounts from there. The Bible talks about the earthquakes will start to happen, and so on and so forth. The rest of it is vulgar. You guys can check this out on your own. All the names that they change it to are...
It's
Yeah.
funny.
4.3 million views, that's
Yeah,
Pretty
and
widespread.
maybe 7 or 8 people got it out of that.
Probably.
Okay?
not even.
Because after you get your decree, you have to go down to the name change office and bring it to them so that they can unlock your social. So they have a whole skit on this. On Saturday Night Live. I almost fell out of my chair. Okay?
She did, you would appreciate that.
What
The
happened?
name change, Saturday Night Live skit, name change, they had a ceiling collapse at the name change office. Now, they said name change office and then they said change of name. So there's two different, they use two different things there. The Social Security office is a two-tiered office. They have one for the criminals, one for the civilian nationals. They've got two different ones. All right, so you guys can check that out. It's actually on my website in the entertainment. There's an entertainment tab. It's got all videos in forked tongue. It's got the cartoons I told you about from Puff the Magic Dragon. It's got the pieces of the movie Neverending Story where in order to save Fantasia, he had to give her a new name. Okay, that's an old movie.
What's your website?
Yeah, what do you?
I'll put it up. Yeah. And then the music on the website was done by Tila. Okay. Okay, so equity will not complete an imperfect gift. So if you haven't perfected your claim, they're not going to do it for you. They're not going to stop you, but they're not going to finish it for you, and it's going to go back to abandoned lands. Where the equities are equal, the law will prevail. If your claim matches what they have in their system, you win. Okay, which isn't hard because you go in there with evidence. Between equal equities, the first in order of time shall prevail. Your name was filed, or is in their system from whenever you were born, versus when this clown showed up and made a claim 3 weeks ago. Okay? Because the equity will go forward, back, left, right. They do the whole, they bounce around in time, so there's really no expiration, unless of course you're talking about latches, but even then that can be defeated. All right. Equity will not allow a statute to be used as a cloak for fraud. They're not going to let them use the statutes to defeat your rights. All right. Equity will not allow a trust to fail for want of trustee. This is why I could sit in a jail cell and tell that woman, "You're my trustee. I need you to go on my phone and text my friends." Okay. Equity regards the beneficiary as the true owner. This is why we write on the affidavit, hey, listen, I'm the intended beneficiary because the intent makes the law and the beneficiary is the true owner. You cannot defeat my claim. Period. All right? Unless you waive it. Unless they trick you into waiving it, which they're very good at. So this is why it's important to know their languages. Your person is private property under the Constitution of the United States of America. This is the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures. No, you can't search for my name. No, you can't go in my trunk. Don't you dare put your hands in my pocket. Don't touch me.
And that goes for any place you are.
That goes for any
We're
place.
here right now, next door. Anywhere.
Unless someone opens up the front door and invites them in, because when you invite a vampire in your house, they have the right to bite everybody in that house.
Well, not.
Maybe. You can finagle that and argue that.
Get out, get out, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, T-Liv told us about his, so he was in someone else's house too.
Right. Okay, so shall not be violated, not may not might not, shall not. You will not violate this right. Okay? And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause. Probable cause is only if you've given them your name. Once you give them your name, now they can do this. They can beat the crap out of you once you give them your name. Probable cause means they got your name from you.
Probable cause has to be with a criminal matter too. It cannot be with a civil matter.
You're absolutely right.
What if I gave them my first and middle name, but not my last?
For what?
When they came into my house and arrested me, I gave them my name still, even though it wasn't the name that they were looking for. Okay.
Yeah. Are you Jessica? Yes. That's it. That's it. Just be
You
quiet.
agree, you volunteer, you agree.
We will not need a volunteer. Are you Jessica? Hold on a second before we go any further. My name is protected under the Fourth Amendment. I have the right to be secure in my person's property, papers, possession, houses, and effects. Get the fuck away from my door. Like I was telling her, I had a woman who, she had DCF, she had the school, she had the police, she had the fire department surrounding her house. You violate my Fourth Amendment right, get the fuck out of here. And they did. Fire trucks and all. Big scene on her street, all the neighbors. And they left. And she went, she sat down, she told me no. Okay? But upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, I accept your oath. Okay? Now I got you on puppet strings. You better not issue some fake warrant under some fake name.
But accept both oaths, though, right?
You can.
Or you just say I accept your oaths, and that's sufficient.
If you got two of them, hey, both of you, hey, how you doing, Officer Johnson, Officer Jackson? Hey guys, I accept your oath to the state of New Jersey and to the United States of America. This is what I need you guys to do. I need you to recognize that I have the right to be secure in my person's property, papers, possessions, housed in the Fourth Amendment. Do you understand that? Which means you agree with that? Yeah, I do. Sorry about you, man. Have a nice night. It's like a silver bullet. You're constantly spitting silver at them. Okay? There's a reason why they don't use silver coins anymore. Something must be allergic to it. Supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Okay, so their person is a misnomer, John R. Doe. Their person has no certified evidence that it exists under the laws of evidence. Their person has no substance behind it. There's no bond, there's no meat and potatoes, there's nothing. It's just a nobody. Their person never remains the same. They'll use 50,000 different names. We are legion and we are many. Okay? Their person is always going to be improper. Their person is a criminal. Their person is a lease. They also call it a bribe. And their person is a mistake. A mistaken identity. Alright? You're a person, proper. Your person is a private trust. This is where your power is. Your person is a private trust. They have nothing. Your person has an equitable interest. Your person has a right to take their title. Your person has a superior, higher right than theirs. Your person is adjudicated under the Constitution. Your person is proper. Your person is sovereign. Your person is seen under equity and constitutional rights. Theirs can't. They don't have these powers. Equitable interest. What is an equitable interest? I had a judge tell me, "Oh, you state your name for the record." "Yeah, I'm not giving you my name." "Oh, and you're not going to take an oath either." "No." Well, what do you wish I do?" She's the one who told me, if your name is on it, you have an equitable interest in the matter. So, what is an equitable interest? A real right, not a legal right in property. Examples are as a life tenant or the beneficiary of a trust, also known as an equitable estate. An equitable interest is an interest held by virtue of an equitable title, which is a title that indicates a beneficial interest in property and that gives the holder the right to acquire former legal title. I can take your title, attorney. I can take your name. I can take everything that you've done in this court because I have a higher equitable interest. And the court of equity will help me because you have unclean hands. They know that. Or claimed on equitable grounds such as the interest held by a trust beneficiary. The equitable interest is a right in equity that may be protected by an equitable remedy. I did a couple of equitable remedies here, but not all of them. A misnomer is a mistake, but not all mistakes are misnomers. Misnomer is just a fake name. These are all different words for the same thing, and I'm explaining to you all the different words. They're all just synonyms for the same thing, so if you hear one, it'll register as another. If you hear another, it'll register as another, and so on and so forth, so you have a variation of the language to play with. Don't fall asleep on me.
Well, nome it means name.
Yes, it
That's
does.
what, in Portuguese, nome is exactly what the translation is.
Right.
It comes from Latin.
Right.
So, misname.
Let's turn it into you want to get some coffee? All right, misnomer is not the same as a misconception. The nome in the middle is from the Latin nomen, meaning name.
Middle name.
A misnomer is a mistake in labeling. For instance, calling aluminum foil tin foil, or calling a koala a bear. It's a marsupial. Anytime you see a misnomer, it's considered a bribe. They are criminals, and they're bribing you to use their fake name if it's on a ticket, if it's on a bill. Hey, listen, you know what? Listen, don't use your Use our lease instead. Trust me, you can do better business with us if you use our name. Don't use yours.
Are you aware that bribery is against the law?
Absolutely.
How about you told
It's
the
a
cop
crime.
that? No, if you told the cop that.
They know.
Are you aware of trying to bribe me is against the law?
Against the law. Hey, hold on a second. Bribery is not in law. They know it's against the law. They're against the law, at law, by law, above the law.
Outlaw.
They're not in. At law, they're not in.
Outlaw.
Outlaw. Yeah. Yeah. By law. By law you have to blah, 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 but that's by. That's not in. My rights are protected in law.
The cops don't want to give you their name, right? You see the videos all the time when you ask them for their name, they're like, it's right here. And they point at the badge, they don't say it.
And that's all campus.
Yeah, they don't say it.
It's right here, see, it's right here, see it?
Judge does the same thing. It's right here.
Right.
I had a false arrest in Somerville last summer, and so the guy who showed up on the scene and cuffed me right away. He was really, unbelievable bully. I'm on the stairs trying to ring the bell to get a witness to say they would have a right to be there. There was an emergency water break, right? So we couldn't get in. We broke in through the window, and so he freaking shows on the scene. There was a woman cop handling it, and I go to ring the bell, and comes up behind me, wants to mace me, and handcuffs me. And I said, man, you're a bully. You're a friggin' criminal. You just friggin' assaulted me, right? And then the sergeant shows up on the scene. By then, he had already uncuffed me and everything. And I'm sitting there while I'm in cuffs, and I'm going, so what's your name? And he's just standing there like this. And I go, what's your name? He goes, 300. I said, I don't believe your mommy named you 300. That's a real name. And then the woman cop goes, Mark, don't engage him. And they go, oh, Mark, okay, we're making some progress.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't engage. Do not engage with this guy. He's going to trap you into some verbal banter, and you're going to waive all of your powers and immunities under your fake police, criminal, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's something I got to go after when I got time.
All right, we'll go after. Okay, misnomer. An error in naming a person or place. I know I keep going over the name because everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, it's always going to be the name first, just like you came from Starbucks. What is your name? All right. An application of a wrong name. Yeah, you just need to fill out this application right here, and we'll go ahead and we'll process it for you. And you put your first middle name on that application, and they come back with first, middle, initial, last. They just gave you a bribe and a misnomer on top of it. Hold on, that's not what I signed up for.
Apply the name.
Apply. Apply. Application of the wrong name. Fill out this application. You want a job application? And they give you a company ID with the wrong name on it in your face. You know what I mean? The name wrongly or unsuitably applied to a person or object. A bribe is in criminal law. A gift or a promise. It's a poison apple. Here, take a bite of this, Snow White. A gift or a promise which is accepted.
Think I'm that cute, huh?
Huh?
Think I'm that cute, huh?
Right. Which is accepted of some advantage as the inducement for some illegal act or omission, or for some illegal emolument, as a consideration for preferring one person to another. You're switching your names, okay? In the performance of a legal act. They give you a ticket. That's a bribe. A gift or a promise which is accepted. Well, I'm not going to accept this crap. I'm going to quit claim this and give it back to you. Take this and get out of my life. All right? Corrupt money. Corrupt offering. Graft. Hush money. Illegal donation. Illegal incentive. Illegal incitation. Illegal inducement. Illegal lure. Illegal offer. Illegal offering. Illegal present. Illegal reward. Offering. Pretium. Thank you. Protection money. Sop. Unlawful bait. Right? Unlawful compensation. Unlawful gift. Unlawful gratuity. With criminal causes come criminals. I'm a criminal attorney. I just told you he's a criminal. I'm here to commit crimes against you. Right? Sign here. I'm a criminal justice. I'm a criminal judge. There's a TV show called Criminal Justice. The judge is a criminal.
There's majors called criminal justice at universities and colleges.
Yeah.
Copies of these documents can be found in my private group at Yahoo called Administrating Your Public Servants. For a complete set of YouTube videos with private information, shares a DVD with over 50 searchable law dictionaries and other books and forms, contact me privately at engineerwin@yahoo.com. Donations to support this work are appreciated. I prefer gold or silver coin, but as an extremely less desirable alternative, I can accept the military script, the IOUs, the Federal Reserve notes, the PayPal gifts, the checks, the money orders. Send me an email for particulars.
God's word is not changed. Okay? John 18:30, if he were not a criminal, they replied, we would not have handed him over to you. Alright? Stay out of that criminal zone. Criminal at large, because the all capital letter name is a criminal. Oh, we got a criminal at large here. That means his name is in all cap. He's a criminal at large. Criminal at large is their person that shall prevail only against the abandonment of the proper name. The only time their name prevails is when you fail to assert your rights. There's Donald Trump. Police know who the criminal aliens are. I almost fell off of my chair when I saw this. Alright? Look at all the gold fringe flags. That's war, war, war. Alright? Aliens is nothing more than you just have a lien on your estate. That's it.
The gold fringe flag, my analysis of that is it's captured by the Vatican, and it's got Vatican soldiers all around it.
I can't argue with that.
Because gold is the color of the Vatican, gold and white.
Well, Trump says the police know. The police know who they are. Police know who the criminal aliens are. He's absolutely right. If you ever get a chance, regardless of how you feel about this guy, before I even got into this, I was watching him. I was like, I know this guy. He's just such a big mouth man. He's just telling these people. He's saying all this stuff. And people don't know what to say. If you ever get a chance, sit down and watch him. Even if you can't stand him, you hate his guts. Listen to him. Give him 10 minutes.
Go listen to his old videos from 30 years ago. He was saying the same thing all along.
Yes, he was.
And the day of 9/11, they interviewed him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what he said, and then the next day he stopped saying it. But he said it that day.
Yeah.
He said, "I know these buildings. I know how they're built. There's no way a plane went in there by itself.
Right.
They had to have support."
The windows
Some
are
type
just
of-
scanning and stuff, right?
No, he said
steel.
it had to have some, and he's talking about it had to have bombs to get
Right.
it.
Right,
But
but that's
that's
what he
the
was
plane
saying.
would have disintegrated, hitting the end of the building, and never would have made it inside.
There's
Right.
no
And it wouldn't
way-
blow a hole in it.
There's no way, if you look at the Roadrunner outline of the plane on the side of the building, right? It cut 43 grade A box columns, right? Which are 1/4-inch thick, like 16 by 16, like square pipes, right? It cut 43 of those. There's no way the wing would still be standing, the tip of the wing to cut through.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
anybody that believes
Yeah,
that has no
agree.
mind.
They have
They
no idea.
were in the middle. There's no way.
We're located in the middle.
Right.
Well, that's another story. But
And-
he's not there.
And plus, there's always like that thing that went into the Pentagon. Okay, those engines, the case on those engines are made of titanium. I do aerospace engineering consulting. I can say with some authority, and those engines always survive the crash. No matter how bad the crash is, those engines are still there afterwards.
So here's
And yet there was none of that was found in any of the
no,
debris.
not only that, but the
Well,
hole
the
is
hatch
just
were
round
down.
through
There's
5
no
walls.
Yeah.
Right.
The hole
On the
through
ground.
5 walls.
Not where the wings
No,
were. Right?
on the other one, the wings cut through the steel.
Yeah.
On those,
Yeah.
there was no cutting, but there's no wings or engines outside.
No, that's right.
What
Right.
about when you see the
And
plane
then
go
the guy's
straight
like,
through the
"Deal,
building,
Brown."
right? You see the plane go straight through the building, but yet you'll see on the news when a bird hits the front of the nose cone, right? The whole nose cone is insert, like,
I've
pushed in.
I've worked with steel most of my life, right? To have enough force to cut through steel, that magnitude, that many, that building would have toppled over before cutting, right?
Right.
And if it didn't topple over, it would go like this.
The thing I like about Trump is that the news media hates his guts, and that makes me like him just because
There you
of
go.
Because he's calling them out.
Right.
Well, that's true.
He's got a lot to say. He talks about nobody quite often, and he speaks fluent forked tongue. And the stuff that comes out of his mouth is absolutely incredible. Like, I'll be in, Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, waiting for my daily poison. You know what I mean? And I'll hear something on the TV, and I'm like, did you just hear what he said? And I'm like, you didn't hear what he just said? He had one thing where he was doing a speech in a hangar. And he's talking to all the people. He goes, you know what I'm talking about, you criminals in the back. And I was like, oh my God, he just called the crowd criminals. And they're like, I'm like,
He knows how to talk to the slaves, and he
yeah.
does this thing that he always echoes at the end. He always repeats the last one or few words.
yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember when Hillary was doing a debate, and she goes to take a drink of water, and she spit something into the glass. The next debate, he was doing that the whole time, and nobody talked about it except me. He kept going like this, when he was drinking water, and he was trying to plant it in people's minds that he was doing what she did, so that we pay attention to it.
In substance, no one
Yeah.
still knows what it was.
Yeah.
There was also part of the debates. I actually sat down and I watched them with my little pen and paper. And he says, Hillary, I'm going to get a special prosecutor for you. Special prosecutor for her. Yeah.
We can't have this guy be president. Yeah, that's right, because you're going to be in jail.
We'll see. All right, so this is all about court cases. Okay? I had a conversation with one of the women who was the court officer. She was like a supervisor, court officer. I was like, this whole thing is all securities fraud. She says, I know. Okay. So Matthew 21:12, when Jesus went into the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there, he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those selling doves. And this is some little, here you are, hi.
You want to sit back here?
No.
Yeah, thou shalt not trade souls with birth certificates. I thought that was cute. Alright, court cases are to determine who has the higher right. That's it. Here's the case right here. The prime object of all litigation is to establish a right. Who's on the right side? Who's the creditor? If they've got you over here on the debtor, you better figure out a way to get over to the credit side. Or else you're not only the debtor, D-E-B-T-O-R, but you are the D-E-A-D-E-R. And the customer is always right. The customer is always right. Right? The prime object of all litigation is to establish a right asserted by the plaintiff. Who brought the action and did you have a right? The action should be brought in the name of the party whose legal right has been affected against the party who committed or caused the injury. The duty of this court, as of every judicial tribunal, that means equity, because equity is judicial, right? Is limited to determining rights of persons or of property, which are actually controverted in a particular case before it. Equity acts in personam. Equity acts on the person. Property. Fourth Amendment. All right? Judicial tribunal. That's an Article 3 in law. That's a court of equity. First step, get past the name. Second step, get past the oath. And now you enter the protective bubble with your documentation as the beneficiary. Okay, Supreme Judicial Court. In chambers. You can activate the powers of chambers in pretty much any court proceeding whatsoever. Chambers is also a compartment in a firearm, as in the breech of a rifle or the cylinder of a revolver that holds the cartridge in readiness for firing.
That's power.
B, an enclosed space in the bore of a gun that holds a charge. So all of the charges and the finances are in chambers. They're in the chamber. Judge's chambers. A judge's chambers is the office of a judge where certain types of matters, certain is definite. It's certain. I'm absolutely certain that this happened. It is definite. I have no shadow of a doubt whatsoever cast upon me that this is the deal. Because they like to use shadow of a doubt too. Where certain types of matters can be heard in chambers. Remember she said, we're in chambers. Let me see the papers. Also known as in camera rather than in open court. Okay? Generally, cases heard in chambers are cases or parts of the cases in which the public and the press are not allowed to observe the procedure. They are excluded. Attorneys at law or public, they're not allowed in chambers. Period. Where was I? Not allowed to observe the procedure. Okay. Judges' chambers are often located on upper floors of the courthouse, away from the courtrooms, sometimes in groupings of judges' chambers. In some jurisdictions, a courtroom rather than the judge's actual chambers are used to hear matters in chambers. Such courtrooms may also be called chambers. So you're in a loaded gun when you get in there. Okay? That's why Mr. Rafferty... Okay? Because the cannons are aimed at him now. Okay? A place where municipal or state funds are received and held. The Treasury. Alright? Judge is the Treasurer. Chancellor, which is a special judge, is also the one holding back. With your money in it. Credits, whatever you call it. Proper name belongs only in equity, not in the public. Constitution of North Carolina, the meaning of the term equity was not defined. The Constitution assumed that it was known as in case of other words used without definition, and we are therefore to look to the jurisprudence then the existence for a proper understanding of the term. Proper understanding, does anybody know what that means?
Proper form.
An agreement. Understanding.
Oh,
Proper agreement. Upper, lower, we have an agreement. Is it my understanding today that you are coming forward as the intended beneficiary? Proper agreement. You. Body and spirit are bound to the name. You can tinker with that. Well, you as a private trust, I'm the beneficiary of that in proper form, yeah. Okay? To look to the jurisprudence, remember I'm telling you the book's Amjur, then in existence for a proper understanding. Upper, lower, agreement. Yes, we have an agreement. We have an agreement? We most certainly do. Okay? Like the cop said. I said, my name is private, protected in the Fourth Amendment. You understand that, don't you? Oh, I'd be a jerk if I understood that. Turned around and walked away.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
And then you walked away?
I'd be a jerk if I understood that. And he walked off. Because he can't. He's not allowed. He's not allowed in equity. He's a cop. That's why Mr. Rafferty, oh, my witness left. He's not here. Because he can't come in here.
I showed the clerk at a probation. They said, you gotta go downstairs and check in and start bossing you around as soon as you get her in the courthouse. And I was showing her the proper name. She says, I can't look at that. What are you showing me? I can't see that.
Mm.
Yep, she was refused to look even at the certificate of live birth because she had the wrong name on their little roll call for the actors and actresses.
Criminals. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. This is the Commonwealth, 1780. I go all the ways back as I can possibly go. 1780 Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Every individual of the society has the right to be protected by it in the enjoyment of his life, liberty, and property according to standing laws. Your standing What kind of standing? You don't have any standing to come in here. You have to have standing to get those laws to be in your force and effect. He is obliged, consequently, to contribute his share to expense of this protection, to give his personal service or an equivalent when necessary, but no part of the property of any individual can, with justice, be taken from him or applied to public uses without his own consent. Again, it's the same thing. I'm saying it over and over and over, just different sources. Okay, let me know when this is boring you, because it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over. Every way you turn it will be the same recipe. They use the same recipe over and over for centuries. All right? Or that of the representative body of the people. So if you don't do it, the charitable trust people will show up and do it for you. In fine, the people of this Commonwealth are not controllable by any other laws than those to which their constitutional representative body have given their consent. They can't control you unless you allow them to control you, or unless you don't do it yourself and you let these clowns, legislators, do it for you, the cops do it for you, and the attorneys at law who you have given your consent to, the, devil's advocate to represent you. And whenever public exigencies require that the property of any individual should be appropriated to public uses, he shall receive a reasonable compensation therefor. Court of Equity is the Constitution. Be it enacted, the General Assembly of the State of North Carolina, and it is enacted by the authority of the same, that from and after the expiration of the present session of the General Assembly, each superior court of law in this state shall also be and act as a court of equity for the same district and possess all powers and authorities within the same, that the court of equity, which was formerly held in this state under the late government, used and exercised, and that are properly and rightfully, right, upper and lower, rightfully on the right side as a creditor. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for recognizing that. Incident to such a court. So you have to be proper, just, and on the right side to access that court. Agreeable to the laws and force of this state and not inconsistent with our present Constitution. This statute also made the courts of equity courts of record. They're looking for your record, your certified record. They're looking for it. Now, there's courts of record that are just audible. There's courts of record that will take your regular commercial paper and all the crap you're filing, motions and blah, 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 blah. Or they'll take your certified record as money, like the Supreme Judicial Court will take it. Courts of equity will accept your money. I've been into a district court and I gave the certificate. She goes, no, we don't accept money here. Proper is equity. Once again, the original jurisdiction thus derived through the colony and state of North Carolina from the equity jurisprudence of England, directly from England, not from Rome, okay, is called the inherent jurisdiction. Are you an heir and beneficiary of this private trust that we've been searching for under the Satanic Act of 1666, because we don't have any records because everything burned down? Inherent jurisdiction of the court to contradistinguish it from the statutory jurisdiction, two different jurisdictions. Anytime you see a statute and code, rules and regulations, that is criminal. Period. Alright? And it is to this original and inherent jurisdiction that our statute refers when it says the Chancery Court shall continue to have all the powers, privileges, and jurisdiction properly and rightfully incident to a court of equity by existing laws. Properly and rightfully again. Okay? The inherent powers and privileges and jurisdiction of our chancery courts within their respective local and personal jurisdictions are identical in kind and what the hell, I can't talk today, thank you. Commensurate in extent with equity, powers, privileges, and jurisdictions of the High Court of Chancery in England at the time of the American Revolution. I'm just giving you what they're telling you. These are all the maxims of equity. We already went over that. Proper jurisdiction. Once again, you guys know how to get in now. Right? The Chancery Court, under its inherent jurisdiction, deals only with property and the rights and duties of the parties incident thereto, and every affirmative decree. Your name decree is an affirmative decree. This is my name. No one else can use it unless I give it to you, and damn it, you can't have it. Every affirmative decree either affects the property of some party or some right or duty of some party in reference to property. The rule of jurisdiction is that nothing shall be intended to be out of the jurisdiction of a superior court, but that which specially appears to be so. I'm going to make a special appearance here today in your clown court, okay? And, on the contrary, nothing shall be intended to be within the jurisdiction of an inferior court, but that which is so expressly alleged. Those fake names are going to be all over the inferior court. The Bible flat out tells you, come up here with us and leave the lower courts to the Gentiles. Let them have that. Here's all the court cases. The Chancery Court is a superior court within the sense and meaning of the term as contradistinguished from an inferior court. They're inferior. They're not a competent tribunal. They're kangaroo courts. Down there lying with the fake names. Okay, so how do we use your equitable rights to reverse a mortgage situation? This lady right here is a perfect example. How to retrieve your children from custody. That's going to be a quick claim in equity. Okay? Your situation's a little bit different. Have to go to a different jurisdiction to do the covenant on the higher courts. How to stop being harassed on the road? Very simple. You withhold the name under the Fourth Amendment. Officer, you understand. I have the right to travel, right? I also have the right to be protected. Person's property, papers, possessions under the Fourth Amendment. You understand that, right? We use that all the time. Alright, how to stop an eviction. That's a little bit different. How to assert your interest. Put forth your claim after you get past the bubble. Vexatious litigation and prevail. Quit claim. Take your leases back, I don't want your crap. How to establish a legal estate and establish ownership. That is to get the decree. This guy, he's a weirdo. Look at him and tell he's a weirdo.
He's
Cat
definitely
hair
a
in his
pedo.
coffee mug, you know.
Definitely a pedo.
Is he the head of CPS?
He's the head of CPS.
Yeah. So that
He's
makes
definitely
him
a pedo.
Makes him a weirdo by definition.
Yeah,
right.
there's a...
Like a child trafficker.
So he says...
Probably a pedophile.
That's what I
Yeah,
said.
absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To do that type of
It's an eyes.
horrific
Look at
work.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a demon right there.
absolutely. The
You
one
can
in
see it.
Massachusetts, the top guy in Massachusetts, he looks like a big mantid. And he's about this tall, he's really, really skinny, and he wears this weird silver ring that bends over. He just,
The Boston police chief is fucking weird.
Oh,
He looks
yeah.
like a plucked bird.
yeah, he's not even, I don't know what planet they beamed him in from, but he's a mess. He's a mess. There's a lot of those weirdos.
Men in Black.
Pull them up.
Yeah, there's a
Pull
lot
on
of
a
Men in
visual.
Black weird shit
Yeah.
in Boston, that's for sure.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Men have been wrongly jailed because of withheld evidence. Read all the time? Yeah. Head of CPS concedes, in any case in which an issue is raised about disclosure, whether pre-trial, during pre-trial, or post-trial, we are committed to looking into that to find out if there's anything that is hidden. They're looking for evidence. Who's the owner? Said Mr. Hill. Mr. Foster, a former chief executive of CPS, claimed this autumn that a failure to disclose vital evidence of
Not my evidence.
not yours, but I got you all over the place in here, is the biggest single cause of miscarriages of justice, and the problem is getting worse. Put forth your claim.
You notice the season? Autumn.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They
at
said
least-
claim
at least
this
he's-
autumn, this
At least he's
season.
pointing it
Oh.
out. At least he's pointing it out.
They listen. They speak fork tongue all day.
He's trying to
They're
avoid
not
liability
lying.
probably. That's why he's doing it. Hey, I told you guys.
They're not lying.
Disclosure, yeah.
my slide.
There you are. Vital. Vital. These are all words, different definitions, synonyms. When you hear them, you're looking for a living document. You're looking for a living document. You're looking for my living document. That's all they're looking for. Basic, cardinal, chief, critical. This is essential to our case. Chief. Like that. Okay? Extremely important.
My blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email address is engineerwin@yahoo. My YouTube profile, Sovereign Living and Sovereignty International. My Facebook community page, I deleted it due to censorship on the part of Facebook. My private group at Facebook called Sovereignty International is being deleted. Facebook is a has-been. I don't even go there. I haven't been there for months. But if I wanted to go there and ban everybody off my group, that's the way I would delete it, because I'm not going to let Facebook profit from my hard work. Meanwhile, I have friends that are basically on there and managing things, and they can have at her for all I care. Anyways, my Yahoo private group is called Administrating-Your-Public-Servants. My Google private group is called Administrating-Your-Public-Servants. And follow me on Twitter at EngineerWin. Follow me on Steemit at Sovereignty International. And there's a link to my BitChute channel, although I don't have all my videos uploaded there. There's only a few. Well, there's quite a few. I've got quite a few, but still, it's not all of them.
Extremely important. That's Article 1, Section 9. Proper form is important into the United States of America. Fundamental, important, irreplaceable, life-supporting, main, necessary to life, needed, paramount, pressing, primary, principal, radical, required. That's mandatory. Requisite, urgent, vitalic, vitalis. Also see basic, born, cardinal, central, compulsory. It's a compulsory registration. Conscious, critical, crucial, essential, exigent, fundamental, important, indispensable, integral, live, major, mandatory, material, necessary, obligatory, you must. Primary, requisite, strategic, substantive, urgent, and viable.
Under the 14th Amendment, there has to be exigent circumstances for them to kidnap.
That means that their name has to be alive more than yours. You have to waive that. They're fake names. You have to.
What about getting a decree for a minor child? They have to do it themselves when they become age majority?
You can do that. You can do it for them if they're in your custody. If they're not, it's a whole different story.
I thought the age of majority was any age. You just had
18.
to. I thought you not necessarily had to be 18 as long as you showed to court you were competent.
18.
Okay.
And the other thing is, there's another property owner involved.
Adverse possession, all cap.
No, I'm talking about the father, mother and father. They both kind of have to be on the same page. Otherwise, they can divide and conquer.
Not necessarily, but there's ways to circumvent that. You're supposed to get the other mother or father's consent before you take full, sole legal and physical custody of.
What if you want to revoke that consent because you gave it under coercion and distress?
You have to go to court of equity to do that.
Or get agreement from them.
Well, they're not. He's
Settle
not
out of
going to
court.
agree. He coerced me into it and bribed me.
Yeah.
I have his proof, like the receipt even.
You have to go to court of equity to do it. What state are you from?
Ohio.
Check and see if they have a chancery court. I'm going to give you these slides, CHANCERY, and I would strongly do your studying before you go into the chancery court.
Do my what?
Studying.
Studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always do your studying before you do anything.
Always. Yeah, because they're particularly, if you get kicked out of equity, you don't get that. You have one shot.
In each case, right?
Vital events are typically, vital events that are typically recorded on the register include live birth, death, fetal death, name, change of name, marriage, divorce, annulment of marriage, judicial separation of marriage, adoption, legitimization, and recognition. Among the legal documents that are derived from civil registration are birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage certificates. Most marriage certificates are void. It's not your name. You're never married. Civil registration is a system by which government records the vital events, birth, marriages, and deaths of its citizens and residents. Just going to be in all cap, is still sitting in this registry right now.
What I recommend, I mean, in the old days, they used to just put it in the family Bible,
That's right.
Births,
That's right.
marriages.
That's right.
And so I would never say I'm married, even if I'd say we're joined in holy matrimony, which is different. See what I'm saying? And you record it in the family Bible. You
That's
can
right.
still get those family Bibles where they have all those pages in them where you can record that kind of stuff.
You just have to administer, do your ceremony, right?
If you want to.
It's starting with
Trust.
like
Did you put the babies in, Glenn?
You just have
Well,
a
you do
party.
change your name and then
Kids,
go in and do
everything
it
is
that
going
way.
in there. And
You
then
said both proper names are joined as one.
Then what I would do to bring it into the public is make a photocopy of it, make an affidavit, and then attach a photocopy of what's in the family Bible, and then take it and record it in the public, into the county recorder.
That's not a bad idea.
And that's what I did with my son, actually. And U.S. Airways used that to put him on my company benefits when I was working for him.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, so civil registry, the resulting repository. Now, vital statistics center, we're just a repository. Okay? A repository database has different names in different countries and even in the different U.S. states, which is a completely different jurisdiction. So what we found is that the all capital letter name is registered as the owner. When you do the name change, pull everything out, go back, your name ends up on there, not theirs. All right, that's their easement into your property. Name change clerk. Is someone using your name? Did you want to register your name? That's what she said to me when she saw the papers with the great seal. Registration is notice. Registration of a mark on the principal register provided by this Act or under the Act of March 3rd, 1881, or the Act of February 20th of 1905 shall be constructive notice of the registrant's claim of ownership thereof.
Is that a federal act
That was my say.
or state?
It looked like a state act.
Doesn't really say.
That's a good question. This come out of the register, the federal.
That's federal.
This is federal.
Okay.
This is just a snippet of some of the other webinars that I've done from their slides. But I actually have the full slides, and I'll be able to pull.
Well,
this out for you.
I got the entire statutes at large up to about 2012. Oh,
Yeah, this
and
is,
so well, now that I know what acts, so there's March 3rd, 1881, and February 20th, 1905, I can find them.
okay. It's probably going to be the Civil Registration Act. Oh, this is interesting. This form here, Social Security Administration certification. Pursuant to the provisions of Title 42 U.S. Code, Section 3505, and the authority vested in me by 45, I want to say FR 47, I can barely see this, 47245-46, I hereby certify that I have legal custody of certain records, documents, and other information established. I certify such fact being true and correct, substantiated by the records maintained by the Social Security Administration pursuant to Title 42 U.S. Code, Section 405. That's what gives me the authority to hold on to it until you come and get it. I certify that the annex computer printout showing the name, Social Security number, they actually put the number on there, and dates of the information was recorded are true and complete copies of such documents in my custody. They're the custodian, okay, and the trustee until you come and get it. This is what's called a Social Security numinate. You see the two little vampire bites and the blood running down there and the seal on it, little magical sigil on it. Joshua 2:18, unless we come into the land, you tie this cord of scarlet thread in the window. Two little windows, grommet, two grommets. Of scarlet thread in the window through which you let us down, and gather to yourself into the house of your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household. She said, according to your word, so be it. She sent them away, and they departed. Departments. You're dealing with nothing but departments, 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 departments. And she tied the scarlet cord in the window. They departed and came to the hill and country. Hold on, let me fix this.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
the Bible also says you're not supposed to number the people.
You're not supposed to enumerate them.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to give them new names.
that sounds like a
Remember
social
that.
security number.
It's all Social Security. Now, underneath this form, can't really see it, but underneath this form is the original Social Security application that your mother filled out with your proper name on it. First, middle, last, upper, lower, underneath here. So when you go and get it, you put other as the owner. You get a different card. Alright?
How do you get one of those?
You have to go in.
Change your name first,
Saturday Night Live skit will tell you. Yeah.
and then go there.
And then you go there. Tell them, I need you to release this. It has to be a conveyance. It's a life estate. You have to convey this over to me.
I only heard about that Newbiden number one other time, and it was like real that like they won't talk to you about it and stuff like
They
that.
won't even tell you they have the record. And when you apply for it, you have to click that it's a deceased person. You want a certified record of a deceased person under this number, and then they'll send it to you with your name on it and your number. Because you had the little vampire bite, you're dead. Right? They departed and came to the hill country and remained there for 3 days until the pursuers returned. We've got an old, actually it's in the encyclopedias I'm going to give you. Day means summer. So days are years. 3 years until the pursuers returned. Days are years. 40 days and 40 nights. Vital signs, vital evidence. This is a movie. All of this stuff is all in movies. Now that you guys sit down and you start watching this, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And I'd love to hear all of the stuff that you guys find when you start watching this stuff, because it's all mind-blowing. Evidence and witnesses. Any matter of fact that a party to a lawsuit offers to prove or disprove an issue in the case, system of rules and standards that is used to determine which facts may be admitted and to what extent a judge or jury may consider those facts as proof of a particular issue in a lawsuit. This is all worked on, this whole thing. This whole thing is all encrypted. Matter of fact. What's the matter? That's your name. Proper. Prove, disprove an issue. An issue is a child. A child is an heir. Child of God on that certificate. This whole thing is completely encrypted. Federal Rules of Evidence 402 states in part, all relevant evidence is admissible except as otherwise provided. What does that mean? You can't admit it as evidence in the public forum, except, and that you have an exception, as otherwise provided. If you're wise enough, you better not put it on that public. Alright? The goal of this rule is to allow parties to present all of the evidence that bears on the issue to be decided, and to keep out all evidence that is immaterial or lacks probative value. Evidence that is offered to help prove something that is not at issue is immaterial. Witnesses. He couldn't bring his witness in there because he's a criminal. He can't bring him into a court of equity. Now, if he didn't switch those jurisdictions, that cop would have been sitting there, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds of heroin in his trunk, and, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, until the end of time he'd been sitting there at this line. The authenticated record is your two witnesses that execute your trust for you. To be admissible, testimony must be limited to matters of which the witness has personal knowledge. You have to have personal knowledge of the facts. That's why we put together the affidavit. I have personal knowledge of the facts right here. And I'm the intended beneficiary right here. My name is private. Everything that you're doing is based upon the stuff that's in here that's moving you over to the right side. Private trust side, not public. Private trust, intended beneficiary, I'm the owner of it. Okay? I have knowledge of the facts right here. Boom, 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 boom. We hit every step all the way down. Alright? Let's see. To be admissible testimony, the top of your authentication says "in witness thereof," and they're giving testimony, right?
Yep, in testimony whereof I, Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, have hereunto caused the seal of the Department of State to be affixed and my name subscribed to the Assistant Authentication Officer of the said department at the City of Washington in the District of Columbia, the 10th day of April 2017.
Very nice. Testimony must be limited to matters of which witness has personal knowledge, meaning matters that the witness learned about using any of his or her senses, 5 senses, maybe even 6. Second, the witness must declare under oath or affirmation that the testimony will be truthful. Purpose of this requirement is to awaken the witness conscious and impress the witness mind with the duty to be truthful. An oath or affirmation requirement, now he subscribed on that, right? When we're talking about subscribed oaths, he subscribed it. He's the underwriter for it.
Yep.
Subscribe. Oath or affirmation requirement also serves as a ground for perjury if the witness does not testify truthfully, although the oath frequently invokes the name of God. Right? The witness need not possess any religious beliefs. A secular affirmation is sufficient. Announce, define, proclaim, make known formally. Announce, proclaim, so on and so forth. Bring new. I'm just going to hit the highlighted ones. Bring news to, declaration, declaratory judgment, statement. That's your announcement. Now, we're talking about announcements when it comes down to babies. When you have a baby, the first thing you're supposed to do is put in an announcement, a birth announcement in the newspaper. That is a claim. Okay, we got that directly from the news, from the newspaper down in Georgia. Are you and your wife fighting? No. Why? We just want to make sure, because when you put in a birth announcement, that's a claim to the baby. All right? American courts have long recognized that effective and safe law enforcement necessitates some exceptions to the knock and announce rule. We know what that is. Police! Right? In Wilson, the Supreme Court restated some of these very words in recognizing applicability of the common law exceptions to the now constitutionally based knock and announce rule. The birth announcements are claims. When you have a baby, you are supposed to use the newspaper.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So
When your
those
baby, to claim it.
those people,
But the hospital does.
The hospital takes it because the hospital sends you a notice. The hospital puts in a notice. Yeah, we got this baby here. Sure. They put it in the paper.
Yeah, they put
Birth
it in the
announcement.
paper.
Or they put in a birth notice. And you open up, oh, the birth announcement, the baby's born, it's so cute, I'm going to take it and put it in my photo book, and it's going to sit there, and that's going to be it. No. You're supposed to put in a claim. It's like an echo. Yoo-hoo!
actually, that is Memorial Hospital claiming that birth there, really, if you think about it.
That's what I've heard.
That's
It's
right.
a notice in the paper.
The notice is different.
But if you do it, then you're claiming it. That's why if you're concerned about that kind of thing, then that's what you should be doing.
You should be doing it.
I agree.
Announce it to all man.
Right.
August, Wilbur.
You and your wife
Bill,
are...
so look at Bill and Michelle Thean of Fultz announced the birth of their son.
Right.
Okay? They announced it.
Okay.
So the hospital will put in the birth notice. Hey, we got this baby here.
Births at Memorial
Well,
Hospital.
and it
No,
does
the
say
Up
that.
above,
and
up
then
above,
down.
it's a different thing. Up
Right.
above is just saying
They're changing it.
all the babies that were born there.
Right,
Right.
okay.
These people did the announcement.
Right, but
When
up
you do the
above
announcements-
is the hospital saying who was born.
Yeah, those are probably some abandonments.
Right, right. And if I was doing it, I'd make sure that it didn't say anything about the hospital. I'd just say that we're proud to announce that our baby was born today, and he's going to be known in this life as Hunter Pierre, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
When I bought Ancestry.com to help with my lineage, etc., they actually gave me a newspaper searchability, which now I can go, because I'm sure this was done, but I don't have it. I maybe saw it. It was was in the book for a while.
Yep, it's always
Now
the
I
book.
can go back and see what it actually says.
See if it's a notice.
See if
or
it's
an
a notice
announcement.
or an announcement.
You're also supposed to do the same thing for the dead, for your family members that pass.
Right.
Because what happens is, if you don't claim them, their body and spirit are bound to that name, that all capital letter name gravestone, it's an abandoned spirit. And it can be controlled by who owns the name. Do not play with these people because they waste nothing.
So if my earthly father had not, if none of that was done. And so now what?
Where's his lease? Who's holding his lease? Find out. Because before they bury them, the funeral direction must have a death certificate.
Okay, that was issued, a certificate.
Who's got it? Who's controlling it?
I don't know.
You're gonna have to find out. Make sure there's
How
an
do you-
announcement, a proper
Possibly
announcement.
my sister.
How is it?
She could be holding the certificate. Is it in proper form or is it in all cap? They put my grandmother's in all cap. I almost lost my mind. I was like, someone's gonna pay for this. Where's my grandmother? Because I've had to deal with enough spirits to know that they're not where they're supposed to be. Why? I'm not gonna get into that.
Thank
Whole
you.
new conversation. There's another one. Here's another one. Birth announcements or claims. You're claiming your baby before anyone else gets a chance. Those were both 2006.
Right, and I would say that that would probably take, if you do it, that's like, it takes precedence over anybody that claims it because of a birth certificate or something like that, you know?
But what about the certificate of live birth with the original signature, the blood and all that goes off into somewhere, then they issue the certificate 10 days later,
Right,
so after the fact.
right.
That's
Maybe they claim
meaningless.
this first.
Isn't that meaningless at the moment?
Absolutely not.
If that,
Because this is a constitutional right. This is a freedom of the press. You're exercising your constitutional right to give notice. When registration is notice, when you give notice like this and tell the whole world and put it in the paper, don't tell me you didn't know. Don't come after my lineage.
so you're basically, this is how to defeat their presumption of holding the
Right.
asset.
Plus, you could probably get the newspaper to give you an affidavit and say that this was run on this date and time.
That's right. Publisher's affidavit.
Yeah.
That's right.
So can you do it years after the fact or no?
Try it. Why not?
Register your
I had a
in the
friend do
paper.
his children were 7, I think.
Even deaths?
Why not?
Right, I put it in the paper, I just bought this
Why
car
not?
and everything.
Yeah, or a
And
correction.
then if they have their names wrong on the certificate, you call them, you say, let me tell you something right now. You fix this. This is completely misstyled, and if you don't fix it, I'll go down to the Supreme Judicial Court and smoke you in court. Fix it.
So that's what that attorney was saying when she said no witnesses have come forward to see. She was trying to make a claim.
No witnesses have come forward.
Yeah, to your sandbox.
Right.
You don't have to come to you.
No,
know,
you
your
don't.
own inferior
Drag them
court.
to yours. I would.
So if the birth certificate, the death certificate is in all caps, and like say my mom has them, right?
And he's probably-
Would there be another duplicate somewhere else that someone's
Somewhere.
using to make money off somewhere?
There might be.
So then
Usually
how
the
would
funeral
you?
home, they won't bury, they need the bond in the body, the same thing with prison, they need the bond in the body, the same thing with school, they need the bond in the body, the same thing with everything that you try to do.
Oh, so the funeral home is fucked.
Yeah.
Crooks too. Them motherfuckers. I mean, it's a perpetual business,
Right,
but that's not enough for them. Oh,
No.
I get
Actually,
it.
can we
Okay.
pause for a little
yeah,
bit? I'm going
Pause.
to pause this,
I'm almost done.
and
Pause.
we're going to give
Check out my other videos, Bankster Thieves Playlist, Roman Cult Playlist, Bankrupt Corporate So-Called Governments, Bar Members 1 through 3, Do-It-Yourself How Not to Volunteer for the Selective Service in the Draft, Martial Law is Here, Do-It-Yourself No Income Tax, Do-It-Yourself Free Mail, Do-It-Yourself Kangaroo Courts 1 through 13, Canada Border Pigs Playlist, Bar Members and their Satanic Connections Playlist.